Welcome in, gang. Let's get straight to it. Coach has a ton of stuff to talk about, and his storage situation on his phone is dire. So we got to not waste any time. Njoku of the Browns leaving Cleveland. We love that because we got Travis Kelce coming to town anyway. People loving the Clippers moves are saying they won the trade deadline. They definitely did. People were trying to trade for Kawhi. They said 7 teams tried to trade for Kawhi. The Clippers obviously stood pat. They pick up Darius Garland, which, of course, we've talked about Maxey being from Garland, Texas, but also Darius Garland. That's like Darius Miles. We've got Myles Garrett making it to the Super Bowl next year. Darius Miles was a top pick out of high school for the Clippers back in the day, who has a very popular podcast, so he can get in and talk about how much he likes Darius Garland, blah, blah, blah. Right, so James Harden goes to the Cavaliers. You don't think that's suspicious? What's James doing on the Cavaliers when we think LeBron James is coming back, right? Same time, everything in La La Land, LA Lakers not going so hot, right? So now if the Sixers don't beat the Clippers, I think it's still the Sixers winning, but they beat the Lakers. It's really tough to read there, but I do feel a lot better about the Clippers than the Lakers. But the reason, there's a lot of reasons to think it could be the Lakers, but also more so when you think about LeBron going back to Cleveland to team up with James Harden, they would almost certainly go against the Lakers and lose. And LeBron would go to the Celtics after that and could get revenge on the Lakers. And I think after they beat the Lakers, they get a chance to get revenge on, I definitely got LeBron going against the Clippers, but it would make more sense if it's when he's with the Cavaliers. Well, actually, I don't know. I'm thinking not. I think that's a red herring, right? They want you to think when he's with James Harden that they're going to go against the Clippers, especially because the Clippers will have broken their finals curse, right? They'll have already been in one, so that wouldn't be too hard to believe at that point. They're going to think James Harden's going to go against the Clippers. They're going to give you a billion reasons why LeBron's going to go against the Clippers, but then they just don't. And then it's Boston going against the Clippers, because why the hell wouldn't it when we know Boston and the Clippers traded franchises? There's way more reasons to think Boston would go against the Clippers than the stupid Cavaliers, right? So Coach thinks James Harden's just there to fool you, and the Clippers thing comes later after so it's like the Cavs probably lose to the Lakers. And then when LeBron goes to Boston, they beat the Lakers and then get a matchup with the Cavs. That would be LeBron's 6, but he blows it, right? The Clippers are actually, they can do what the Lakers couldn't. You know what I mean? So between the Lakers and the Clippers, they both play a part in LeBron not getting 6 because the Lakers will have beaten him and the Clippers will have beaten him, right? It's just not quite in the order you would think. So that all makes sense to Coach. As far as the window working, it would be year 1 experiment for Harden and James in Cleveland, so I don't think anybody would expect them to make the finals in year 1. So that leaves the window open for our Sixers. The Celtics and Pacers will be getting healthier, but we've picked up draft capital for the next year. That looks pretty prime. We're a good drafting team. I think we'll have more talent on this roster to help with the run next year. So that still gives the Sixers a back-to-back window. And the thing with the Sixers is nobody, including Coach, says it has to be back-to-back. I do think they get 2, and they also beat Jokic, but maybe they win, and then it's a few years before they pop back in, right? It's just got to be before Embiid retires. So, and preferably so when he's kind of in, we don't want it too past the peak of Jokic and Embiid, but what if there's some crazy twist to where, Jokic falls off a cliff? You know what I mean? Everybody would have thought he would outlast Embiid as far as the longevity thing with health and stuff, but what if Embiid sticks around? You know what I mean? And is just performing better late in his career than Jokic for whatever reason. Injuries just suddenly tank Jokic's already very limited athleticism. At least with Embiid, yeah, he's a shell of his former self, but he was the biggest freak athlete we've ever had at center. Dude was doing between the legs dunks at 7 feet tall. All right, but anyway. So, moving on. Right, so we like that Kawhi really, really wanted to be in LA because that's where he's from, and he chose the Clippers over the Lakers. Right, what's that about? Love this freak. This channel is god-awful. Coach has no problem shitting all over this channel. This is a Browns mouthpiece that like gets everything wrong all the time. It's like, James Harden, I owe you a apology, not a apology. I said, if you saw this title and didn't immediately unsubscribe, you're a straight mark. So this dude, Onyeka Okongwu, he suffered a dental fracture in a game against the Celtics, and now he's got to wear the mask like Embiid, right? So he's like, oh, that mask is super tough. It's obviously like a fake injury and stuff, and that's a fashion statement, not a medical accessory. You're stupid if you think that's for medical purposes, right? That's clearly some sort of occultish symbol, right? That's why they do Batman and shit like Bane after it. So coach says, ask Embiid and Sixers fans if the mask is a curse or not. So enjoy that. The Hawks are fucking doomed. He's 25 years old, 25 season. Oh, Sixers, you know what? We're going to whoop the Hawks' ass. For sure. Because of the stupid Simmons passing at the hoop thing, right? So Hawks are on the short list. Cavs are on the short list this year or next. Like maybe there's a way we just skip over them this year and like Harden's just ass. You know what I mean? And then when it's Harden and LeBron next year, it's actually a scary opponent. We beat them then. So Cavs one of the next 2 years. Coach says Hawks this year. The Detroit Gems make a good case. The Pacers, I think, are a little too banged up to be interesting. The Celtics, I mean, we could beat them when they're super banged up. And Sixers would always love to beat the Celtics, but that just feels so weak. So I'm very hesitant to go that route. But Hawks seem like the one sure thing. The Cavs would be the next closest. And then... let's take a look real quick. NBA. Whoops, not .com. Standings. Okay. Yeah, it's the Knicks. It's the Knicks. They're healthy. We hate them. So Knicks and Cavs for sure. And then why not the Raptors? That's sexy. Let's do those three. So we're going to get the Raptors as... I think we're going to save the Knicks for last. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. No reason not just put them right back there. Right? And it'll be the furthest the Sixers have made it at that point. And, I mean, there's serious bad blood here. And, like I said, the host of the Rights to the Ricky Sanchez podcast, the biggest Sixers podcast, just spent a few years with the Knicks. He talks about how he now somehow magically hates the Knicks more than the Celtics, as if that's even remotely possible. Right? So something's up there. I'm saying for sure, just pencil Sixers, Knicks into the Eastern Conference Finals with the Sixers getting ahead. Round before that, probably the Cavaliers. Like I said, they could save the Cavs for next year, though. So if they wanted to put the Raptors there now, instead, that would be fine. And I think opening round would beat the Hawks. That makes perfect sense, Coach. Or the Hornets. Right? So those are the hottest teams for us. Hornets because of the 6-7 meme. Hawks because of the past, but they don't have Trae Young, so I'm not as hot on the Hawks, but I still have a very weird suspicion, especially with the Seahawks thing, that they're going to be in the playoffs and facing us. So Hawks/Hornets, Cavs, Knicks, Raptors. Those are the teams that I think would be the most likely of the three we'll face in the playoffs. So 3 of those 5 we're going to be going head-to-head with, Coach says. On the west side of things, they're talking about how the Clippers have such a tough road, okay? They started 6-21 to start the year. What do you know? Right now, they're 19-6. You think they're dropping one of the next 2? Are you retarded? Like, are you actually stupid? You think they're not going to go 21-6 to flip the 6-21 start? Like, have you ever watched sports? So that's happening. Of course, they could always dupe us, right? But basically, they're close enough that they've already had a streak to get all that back. I'd be pretty surprised if they don't get exactly to 21 to do their little joke and show you it's fake. But ultimately, as far as sports logic, we just like that they've righted the ship. And however bad you wanted to say the Clippers were to start the season, you have to say they are equally that good. Exactly as good as they were bad. So depends on how badly you rated them to begin with, would be how well you're rating them now. Now, as far as who the Clippers will face, Lakers seems like a pencil in. With James Harden there, the Rockets were a lot sexier. Now I don't love it. Oh. San Diego Rockets, baby. Yep, Clippers. Clippers versus Rockets, Clippers versus Lakers. Those 2 are good. Those are in the bag. And then why not beat the Thunder? Yeah, the other James Harden team. Thunder, Rockets, Lakers. That is how the Clippers are getting there. Okay, so let's get back to our slides. Okay, most embarrassing Super Bowl of our lives. I say it was the most boring Super Bowl ever. Coach kind of predicted that. Remember, I said it was going to be a grind. It was going to be a slog. It was going to look like we were in really, really bad shape, right? This wasn't going to be super fun like Eagles, Chiefs last year, or like Tom Brady, Nick Foles shootout, right? It mostly went the way we expected. We just didn't get the result, right? And even then, after the fact, we are totally fine with the result. It's not like how does coach weigh if like results are good or bad? Well, one, if it's really long odds and we have money on it, losing sucks. They weren't paying jack shit for that Super Bowl, so that doesn't even matter. That's not even factoring into it. So all that it matters is our picks that are long odds. Do we have to now throw those out because the Seahawks won? Absolutely fucking not. Sean Alexander, Jalen Alexander Hurts, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander winning the same year. You really think that's a coincidence? Right? Now we got Chuck Arnold, like Bubba Chuck Irving, right? Chuck Iverson, Bubba Chuck Iverson, Chuck Barkley, and come on. We're good. Right? So I'm not mad at all about the Seahawks thing. Just wish it was more exciting. I mean, I can't explain. I still wanted to beat. I talk about entertaining not being, a big factor. But, even though we lost the Miami championship, it was a much better watch. And not just because it was closer. The teams actually seemed competent. It honestly felt like a battle of who was going to suck worse. Darnold had 1 touchdown. We're not going to talk about it anymore. Kawhi's mid-range is automatic. Isn't very interesting. He's Mr. Mid-range. Right? All of a sudden, after years of being a defensive savant, he's now arguably the best mid-range player in basketball when Melo is the master of the mid-range. Nobody in the history of basketball has had a better mid-range jump shot than Carmelo Anthony. So we get Carmelo versus Kawhi. Let's see. So there's the 19-6. Coach told you about their 6-21 to start. This dude, Giannis Conan Niederhauser, what a name. So they got some Swiss guy. We're down with that. He's got to fill in the shoes of an all-star, Zubac, that they moved on from. But Zubac was a more traditional center, just gets a lot of rebounds, can score in the low post, right? To me, that's not what I want from the Clippers. If we've got the Clippers going against the Sixers and we want a good finals, we want a motherfucker that can run and make Joel's life hell. The only thing you can do to Embiid is beat him down the court. And it's an automatic bucket if you do it. They got a guy that can run, so that looks really good for them. He's going to make Embiid's life hell. Alexander English. Alexander English started playing in 1976 when he was drafted, coached for the 76ers, and graduated with a bachelor's degree in English in 1976. And you still think sports are real because you have 2 brain cells, right? You're still going to believe sports are real, knowing Alex English got drafted in 76, coached the 76ers, and graduated with an English degree in 76? What the fuck is wrong with you? We're moving on. Airplane mode to Cleveland, hit y'all when I land, 16 years later. Anyway, so Garland, 26 years old in the year 2026. Darius Miles, spouse Brandy Nash. Brandy's came up a lot. Nash, it's Steve Nash. Stephen John Nash, like John Nash, a beautiful mind. Nash theory, the guy who invented all these game theory algorithms that all these GMs now use, right? The analytics, yeah, that's Nash theory. Okay, they don't tell you that, do they? Right? So Stephen John Nash, who definitely isn't a beautiful mind John Nash. That's just a crazy coincidence, right? Steve Nash just happened to also play professional basketball in Los Angeles. Okay? Canadian, we had the Blue Jays in the World Series. Coach was thinking about this, right? So Montgomery. We got David Montgomery. We had a big Nick Saban ritual when he was the coach of Alabama, who are, I'm pretty sure, out of Montgomery, Alabama. Right? If I'm not completely crazy there. I hope I'm not wrong. Right? I didn't check that part. But I'm pretty positive. Right? Actually, let's just go ahead and look. Alabama U. Tuscaloosa. Fuck. Where the hell is Montgomery? Who plays in Montgomery? College. Auburn. Okay. That's not bad. That's not bad because Charles Barkley. Okay. So coach was thinking they're hitting it at Saban. But now I'm thinking maybe it's Auburn going to make a run next year. Let's get back onto why. Okay, I know I kind of jumped around, but I'll catch you back up. So Steve Nash here, 52 years old in the 2025 season. He's drafted by the Suns. The Suns are one of the few teams that scare me this year. I'm not going to lie. Right? And it's just because the Sixers and the Bridges trade, like there's just enough stuff to not love and think maybe it's them. But I'm overly not like too concerned about it, or we talk about it more. You're not the beard, you're not the system, you're the problem, right? So the year Allen Iverson's Sixers are going to get their ring, the problem gets shipped off of the Western Conference champions. So yes, James Harden famously says, I'm not a system player, I am the system. To me, that means I do whatever the fuck I want. I don't care about any semblance of playing real basketball or like having a legitimate plan to contend. I'm just literally second by second going to always do whatever the actual fuck I feel like doing. Even if I've missed 27 consecutive three-pointers in a game 7. And there are people who buy this man's shoes. Okay? If you see a James Harden fan, that's not your friend. You can do better. I promise you can do better. Okay? That person is pitiful. They've never made a good decision in their life. They will probably actively injure both of you accidentally within the next few minutes. You should sprint in the other direction if you see a pair of Hardens on a nigga's feet. I swear to you. Okay, a Harden jersey, set him on fire. Just save the rest of us. Right? Even if you go to prison, it will ultimately be for the better good, I promise. Okay, so I just realized James Harden has never been a free agent. He's always been traded. What the fuck? That is crazy. Okay, so Nick Saban here, right? Maybe this is a Michigan State thing. We've got the Portsmouth Spartans popping up. Michigan State looks pretty good in college basketball. Maybe it's something to do with them. Like maybe we're jumping the gun. We don't want, like we've had a couple reasons to think maybe the Dolphins are doing something, but we're not stupid. So we're going to say they suck because they're the fucking Dolphins. Okay, and there's no reason to just think they're going to magically turn it around right now. This cat happened to coach for Syracuse. We've got the Syracuse Nationals making it all the way. Also happened to coach for the Cleveland Browns. We like that a lot. Record 292. That's 26 flip both ways. Okay. Sorry, let me get them to shut up. That's enough. That's enough. Stop. Sorry about that. Okay. So, George Munger Award. Right? That's like Paul George, Paul Bear Bryant Award. There's your Paul George joke right there. We've got Paul George winning the finals. Okay, of course, he was with the Clippers previously. That's who we've got them beating. So Paul William Bear Bryant. Okay. Bryant Denny Stadium, right? So, of course, he's got the record for most wins, 323, palindrome. Kobe Bryant was just in the NFL Super Bowl. Right? I'm pretty sure it was on the Seahawks, too. Remember Kobe Bryant got smacked in the back of the end zone near the end when it was basically garbage time? Right? Spelled the wrong way. So we got Kobe Bryant there. So, to me, man, this gets weird. Because Kobe was drafted by the Hornets, and the Hornets started that 6-7 meme. We're definitely not sleeping on the Hornets. If there's any team in the East we're scared of popping up out of nowhere, it's those fuckers. They got some really weird energy, to say the least. But we're going to do our due diligence there. Coach's going to watch some Hornets games. And let's see. Hornets, that's like Yellow Jackets. The Frankfurt Yellow Jackets just won. Maybe I'm way off here. Maybe it's the Hornets, y'all. They made it kind of obvious with the LaMelo Ball. You know, the average conspiracy theorist isn't going to go too much further than the Charlotte Hornets. So maybe coach is overthinking here. Definitely keep that in mind. But I still say that we're right. So national championship in 61. I want to know when that game was played. Was that played in 62? Like, was that a January game? You know, so that would be a flip of 26. Let's look, 1961. I clearly said F for football. Thanks, Google. AI is so smart. Okay. When did this game happen here? 93rd season. That's so weird. You would think it was 92. I wonder that's about. January 1st. Oh, man, they didn't spare a fucking day, dude. One day sooner and we're fucked. What do you know? Here you go. Let's wait one day so this can tie into the 2026 championship. So we do it any sooner, we would have had to run this shit a decade ago, right? So there you go. There's that. Let's get back on track. Fucking horse shit. Okay, let's see. Houndstooth. You know, hounds, that makes you think of the Browns with the dog pound. Eagles did the underdog thing. The tooth part is weird. We did just see that dude get a dental fracture, right? So, just something to keep in mind there. 11th of 12 children. Holy shit. Born to kill Gore Bryant. Gore! What do you know? What's his face? Freaking Gore just died. The baseball player won 3 World Series. The Gore just died. Coach talked about Leslie Gore, Al Gore, etc. Right? So kill Gore, Bryant. Wilson, I'm pretty sure Brian Wilson died recently. Monroe, you don't have to think too hard to think of some Monroes, of course. Kansas, the Kansas City Chiefs are moving to Kansas. His nickname stemmed from his having agreed to wrestle a captive bear when he was 13. How many times are you going to fall for that stupid fucking story? You really think fucking Khabib in fucking random football coaches in the 8th grade? Like, hey, this future football coach in the 8th grade, we better have him wrestle a bear so we can call him Bear Bryant. Like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard. Nobody wrestles a bear. 1, because bears are fucking fake. 2, because if they weren't, you wouldn't fucking wrestle it. Because it's not something that wrestles. It fights and kills, right? That's what we're told. But somehow they got grizzly bears playing touch butt in the park with Khabib. How the fuck does that work? Right, so Fordyce High School, we've got Ford as big on with Ford Field, the Lions. Of course, Ford could play into Toronto. But I'm thinking like with the Montreal Expos being the Syracuse Nationals, and we think being the Washington Nationals, and we think the Syracuse Nationals are going to win the NBA championship. I kind of got lost where I was saying there. Sorry. Let's move on. So we got Red Sanders here, right? That's, of course, like Shador. Let's see, President Franklin D. Roosevelt and Albert Spalding, right? They play football with Spalding or basketball. And then, Franklin D. Roosevelt, that's what the Eagles are named after. They won the championship last year. Of course he coached Otto Graham, right? Eagles, Brandon Graham wins the championship, strip sacking Tom Brady. Belichick coaches the Browns, which is Paul Brown's team, goes on to coach Brady, coach him up so he wins all the Super Bowls. Let's see, George Marshall, so there's our George. So Bud Wilkinson's Oklahoma Sooners, right? So Bud, there's our Bud Crawford, okay, who just won the belt and retired. So Bud Wilkinson here, what's it say about him? Syracuse, of course. No. So we were told about Oklahoma, so we like the Syracuse thing. Whoa, what the fuck is this? Iowa Pre-Flight Seahawks? Iowa Pre-Flight Seahawks? What the fuck is that? Sorry, Coach, can't type. This isn't even that Seahawks team I was telling y'all about. Represented the U.S. Navy. So they used to have another Navy school? Am I crazy? Is that what they're telling us? Oh, Pitt just rejuvenated the rivalry with Navy, and they had played 62 times for the 26 flip. My top teams right now are, for football next year, Pitt, Bama, Auburn. I think, based on what I'm seeing, it seems like maybe it's more of an Auburn thing. I could see Auburn versus Pitt, but those are the ones I'm keyed in on right now. So Jim Tatum, Tatum in the NBA Just blew his shit out. Let's see. Duffy Daugherty. We talked about all the Duff stuff with Mark McGuire, etc. Hugh Duffy Daugherty. Hugh, like Hugh Jackson, worst Browns coach ever. It's also with the Michigan State Spartans. So we got the Portsmouth Spartans winning. Also with the Syracuse Orange, right? We've got the Syracuse Nationals winning. Big train. So he's with the Tar Heels and the Cavs. I didn't have a ton right here, to be honest with you, other than I thought it was interesting. So he was married to Heidi Ross. So Coach got it in his head. I'll bet Heidi Klum is Gisele Bündchen. Just literally out of nowhere. Filled up, so I got to edit this together. Let's get right back to it. So Heidi Klum, right, Coach thinking is Gisele Bündchen, right, both German models, right? So Gisele Bündchen, well, you know, she's from Bergisch Gladbach, so BG instead of GB. Okay, 52 years old in the year, you know, it's 26 now, right? But it was just 25 a second ago when she was 52. You know, so Victoria's Secret model, German, just like Gisele Bündchen, Tom Brady's wife. What do you know? She's married to Tom Kaulitz. Okay, so, and then happened to appear on a German television show with Tom Gottschalk. Right, so Tom Kaulitz is the Tokyo Hotel guitarist. Coach was thinking about, so she had something to do with Hurricane Sandy. So Superstorm, you know, the Thunder one, the Orlando Storm might do something, the Lightning might pop up. The coach was thinking Sandy, that's like Adam Sandler in Sandy, Wexler, and of course like Andy Samberg, who just also happens to be an SNL guy, right? Well, coach was thinking about Hustle with Adam Sandler, about the Sixers. He's also in Uncut Gems about the Celtics. Right, and this is famously a guy from New York, so he would be a Knicks fan. What's he doing making movies about the Sixers and Celtics? Right, that's kind of weird. And then Sebastian Bear McLeod was a fucking producer. What are the odds of that, right? So we got our Bear like Bear Bryant, which brought us here, you know. And so with Gotham, Coach's big thing when he came on the scene was they're doing a big Superman-Batman thing with Detroit. You know, the Steelers rode the bus to Detroit. They filmed The Dark Knight Rises in Pittsburgh. This cat was in Gotham. You know, Superman invented in Cleveland. You know, there's lots. They just made a new Superman movie, filmed it in Cleveland. Liza Bear is the mom of this dude. What do you know? She co-founded two early independent art publications, Avalanche, who just happen to be the best team in hockey right now, and Bomb, like the Oklahoma City Bombers. Okay, so that's very interesting to Coach. So there's a Lawrence. Of course, Lawrence Taylor's record just got broken. Jane Crawford, that's like Bud Crawford. So Gordon, who the hell is Gordon here? I don't know where this Gordon came from. I got confused. Oh, well. But I know the 62. Oh, wait, Willoughby Sharps. This has to be like the same person. I don't know. Who cares? Anyway. So, yep, that's what Coach... Oh, actually, there was some stuff before that I know we didn't get to. Let Coach just scroll up a little bit, see. Oh, yeah. I like this stuff. So, let's start here. So, right, they did a poll. Mike Korzemba, right, microphone, the biggest mouthpiece of these pro sports leagues pretty much. Who will be the first to win a title? Wemby, Luka, Ant, and I was one of 2% who voted Maxey. Interesting, right? Kenneth Walker's dad had never been to an NFL game in his life. How? This motherfucker played in 16 this year. He just was way too busy. Son, those millions of dollars you got or whatever, it's just not going to cut it. You have to actually be in the Super Bowl to be worth my fucking time. Like, how the fuck does he wait? He didn't go to the NFC Championship. No, I know you'll make it there, son. I'm just going to wait. Maybe if you lose, I guess I'll see you next year. You know, there's always next year. Right? Well, I guess you could get hurt in preseason, but I'm just going to risk never watching my son play in the NFL because I'm that sure you're going to the bowl. Okay, so let's see. Don't care about that. Okay, this is good. So Leslie Gore, right? So Leslie Gore, the big song, It's my party and I'll cry if I want to. Well, it's all about her man Johnny left with this bitch named Judy, right? We got Jerry Judy in the championship, and that immediately made Coach think of Joe Dirt, right? When they're talking about that Winnebago's like, that's a rare car. Folks would remember seeing a car like that, like a man named Judy in the NFL. Folks will remember a man like Judy in the NFL, right? You know what I mean? So, and of course, we think he's Deshaun Jackson. Why are they having him at the number 1 spot? If Gordon comes in, he gets to slide to number 2, be the best number 2 receiver in the league instead of the worst number 1 receiver. Right, but so Judy, right, you would think based off this big hit song, if somehow you had gotten this far, you would interpret this as Judy's winning. Okay? But, so of course we got Judge Judy, blah, blah, blah. I'm actually going to skip over her. She's done 25 seasons. We'd like for her to come back for 26 in 2026. So, but there's this other song, Judy's Turn to Cry. So what do you know? In the big hit song, everybody knows Leslie Gore gets done dirty by Judy, but how many people know she gets Judy back and Johnny goes home with Leslie, right? And they specifically mention Judy was wearing Johnny's ring. Okay, so ring, of course, and you win the Super Bowl, you win a ring, very interesting. Johnny, well, how would Johnny tie in? Well, Johnny fucking football, of the 30 teams he could have played for, just happened to play for the Cleveland bumfuck Browns. Why wouldn't he? Coincidences are everywhere. It's just random. Don't think about it. So moving on, Jonathan Paul George Manziel, Johnny Football, okay, they just made a big documentary for him. Right? What do you fucking know? How did he tie in? I can't remember how the fuck I made this jump, but somehow Johnny Manziel gave us Earl Bradford Mayfield. So we get Sam Bradford, whose team just lost the NFC Championship, who used to be the Cleveland fucking Rams, mind you, and Baker Mayfield, who, I don't know, does that connect to the Browns in any way? I guess not. I fucking lose. Sorry. I was so close. Okay, so this Klansman here... Right. I don't fucking know anymore, dude. I'm getting so pissed off. Okay, let's see. So move to Tyler. Isn't that where Mahomes is from? Am I crazy? That sounds right. Allison Mayfield. John McQueenie. Like, Coach came up with Willie Lee, Dorothy Campbell Glass. Isn't it weird we get to Dorothy from Jerry Judy? Did Dorothy and Judy Garland have anything in common? Does Darius Garland or Garland, Texas mean anything to you? Fuck, I guess I'm lost again. Just another dead end. I don't know. So who killed the Montreal Expos? I don't know, but I guess we got to find out in the year 2025 just in turn for the Syracuse Nationals and Washington Nationals to do their thing. It's kind of weird that the timing on this one, right? When did they leave Montreal? Like a billion years ago? They're going to make a documentary about it right the fuck now? Why? Netflix? Is that important? Does anybody watch that one? I don't know. Just some obscure shit nobody's going to see. They're just doing it for no reason. Seahawks, based out of Kirkland. Did anybody named Kirk get shot in the motherfucking face this year and they made a big deal about it for months? Nope, another dead end. Okay, Cheney. Does anything involve Cheney? Right? Is Dick Cheney important ever? Like, vice president, Republican, shot somebody in the fucking face? Does that ring a bell? No? Sorry. Okay. So, let's see. We're going to have some fun here. Let's skip this. Let's go to these. Do I have these draft picks here? I got to have. First of all, look at this Jessica Alba picture. You're telling me that's not Ariana Grande? You can't see it? Are you blind? Not even trying. Seahawks introduce their drumline, Blue Thunder. Hold on, no. We want Seahawks first-round draft picks. This shit is insane. Oh, wait, no. Pitt first-round draft picks. Coach skipped all the Pitt stuff. Where's that? That's what we want. Coach has a bunch of Pitt stuff we somehow didn't hit. Here we go. It's up here. Yeah, we're going to have some fun. Sorry, this one's going to be longer than I thought. Hopefully we don't get cut off. So Coach will tell you his bet of the year in case you didn't see the post. Coach got 70 cents in to win $1.7 million on a fucking 3-leg, dude. Sixers over Clippers. Browns just to win the conference. Nothing to do with the Lions at all, in Portugal winning the World Cup. Do you hate that? 70 cents to max the fuck out? Jesus. Can't believe they let me put that one in after all the bullshit they've put me through. So I was so happy about that. We also got it in 2-leg Sixers and Browns. Had to pay more, but we got it for 1.7 there. So if Portugal, the Browns, and the Sixers do their thing, Coach is good for $3.5 million off under $10. And then let's see. So of course the Vikings make their bad decision. Did I skip? So it's funny that everybody's making a big deal about this random-ass NBA Live 06 athlete when he happened to play for the Clippers. So that was weird. Diggs was a big curse. Coach didn't do enough due diligence on. I don't know why I ignored him so much. I honestly can't even tell you much about him. So I heard he got arrested or something. So Coach got it. He was remiss in his duties, derelict of duties there. Coach will own that. So there's hard to say he's not a system player. Coach already told you MGK is Jim Carrey, but Coach was thinking Machine Gun Kelly, Jim Carrey, Jim Kelly, who also makes funny faces because he's got a disorder. Okay, so Pitt and Navy here played 26 times the year 2026. We like that. Carnegie Tech. I didn't know about that. They now Carnegie Mellon. That's an interesting little fact. So let's just... something about the pipeline. Check this out. They're saying Pitt is the third biggest NFL pipeline behind USC and Miami. You don't think this team can win a national championship? I'm going to think the problem is coaching. You think? So there's that. And of course, Larry Fitzgerald, Coach told you, Fitzgerald was their commissioner in the 40s. So, there's no way we're skipping all this shit. I have a lot here, but I honestly just don't care that much. So Iron Mike, of course, we think it's interesting. It's got the Mike Tyson connection. Coach thinks Mike Tyson is going to win the world championship belt over Tyson Fury. Let's see. So Ditka, he got his number retired during halftime against Miami. He got a DUI leaving a Niners game. They just hosted the Super Bowl. There's Peter Fitzgerald. Wait, no, that's a different fucking Fitzgerald. That's just a coincidence right before, look, Judy Barr, not Judy Bear. Not Judy Bear. You're crazy if you think that's supposed to be a bear. That's just a coincidence. That's Judy Barr, right? So not the same. Okay? Get that through your head. That's not a joke. Bill Brady, that's in no way funny when we think Tom Brady's coming back. And they mentioned Donald Trump right there, who Tom Brady famously supported. That has nothing to do with anything. And Kaepernick right there, right? Nothing to do with anything. Okay, you want to look at Panthers select in the first round, and you want to tell me everything's not a big motherfucking joke? 1978, first round pick, Randy Holloway. The next year, a Panther gets drafted, it's Randy in the first round again. Who knows, second beyond. There might have been a billion Randys, but we only get the first round, and they had to do Randy back-to-back because it's funny and random. That's just how real life works. Everything's always a big fucking joke somehow. 1984-85, so back-to-back first round picks again. Bill and Bill. What's up, Bills? Okay. We got any more? Told you about Larry Fitzgerald, of course. And I guess I didn't get the commissioner, but I promise you their commissioner from the 40s was named Fitzgerald. So DeMar Hamlin, right? Hey, has there been a big sob story about DeMar Hamlin? Anybody got reason to feel bad for him? How about cancer boy James Conner? You feel bad for that little fucking piece of shit? How about Kenny fucking loser-ass Pickett randomly winning a Super Bowl for no fucking reason? Okay? Avonte Maddox, Tommy Maddox, was the Super Bowl when Ben Roethlisberger took over and rode the bus to Detroit. We got the Lions winning. Also, Ben, that's like Ben Franklin, 76ers winning. Okay? Antonio Bryant, wow, we talked about him recently. Interesting, he would come up. Right? So Antonio Bryant went to Pitt. We love it. Why wouldn't he? When Antonio Brown was the reason we went to him, and he was for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Why the fuck wouldn't they both be in Pittsburgh? It's a small world after all. Right? Now, was born in Miami, of course. Went to high school in Miami Northwestern. Let's see. So he was a receiver for Pitt, not named Larry Fitzgerald. That's really all you need to know about him. And let's see. Well, ended with the Seahawks. That's cool. Good for you, dude. Rufus Fitzgerald. Very serious, man. You wouldn't talk shit to Rufus's face. Coach is too big of a pussy to call him out on his bullshit. He just so happened to make it to 76 years. They're going to tell you 75, but count the calendar years. There's 76 of them there, especially. John Gabbert makes Coach think of. Is that Gabbert, or is it Gabby? Who's like that senator now? Or whatever. Anyways, we'll just go with Blaine Gabbert then. The Jags. Let's see. So here's Pitt. Here's Pitt football, who we think might actually do something this year. Have the same conference record as Miami, who made it all the way to the national championship despite not even being good enough to make it in the ACC championship. Somehow they put fucking Duke there at 9-5 when Pittsburgh was 8-5. How the fuck did we only play 13 games, first of all? Okay? Better away record, better home record. We play one less game total. We get no shot. We're doomed. We're fucked. Just watch Duke do Duke shit to fucking Virginia. Like anybody cares about Virginia football. Okay, so here's your rankings, right? They don't got Pitt there. Let's look at the other ones, though. So where's so Bama, comfortably at number 9. That's not bad. What about Auburn? They stay in there? They don't like Auburn this year. So, if you're going by the rankings, Alabama's a way safer bet. But Pitt sneaking in there at 33. SMU's ahead of them. That's one team we can just put in the shitter. You don't get the death penalty and then win a championship because that's not how death penalties work. Have you heard of a death penalty? How many people have won things after getting the death penalty? Is that something you come back from? Right? So no. So they're doomed. I don't think anybody would want to see Duke do jack shit. I'm not too scared about Navy. There's a lot of teams here I think Pitt could kind of just leapfrog over. And nobody would think too much about it. And then, voila, you're in the top 25. All you got to do is be better than Washington, who was 9-4. Dude, where the fuck is Auburn? Do they really have Auburn below Old Dominion? They must be horrible this year. Okay, so I guess it's not Auburn. You know what? Auburn can be very good at basketball, though. And Charles Barkley played basketball. Let's check that out. NCAA, man. Oops. 25. I hate fucking Google, dude. Top 25. Somehow I didn't know. Fine, rankings. Jesus, fuck. What in the hell? Okay. I don't got Auburn here either. Anybody really stand out? I wouldn't sleep on Miami of Ohio at fucking 24-0 when Miami was just in the championship. First of all, Ohio, that's the oldest school in the fucking country. First of all, that's Ben Roethlisberger's school. We just brought him up. Okay, that's Josh Cribb's school, right? One of the best brownies. So definitely keep an eye on them. They're doing something in the tournament. I'm positive. So Coach had an epiphany during edit. This video is supposed to be done, but Coach actually has a big revelation for you based on what we found here. So Coach was thinking about Leslie Gore, and you're probably like, how the hell does Coach know all these random ass celebrities from the 50s and stuff? Well, in Leslie Gore's case, it's just because I watched the film Andre about a seal by Paramount Pictures from 1994. So let's make sure this is the beginning. Okay, so Andre the Seal. Right, so we're looking for any sort of number. So in the movie, Leslie Gore's records are played in the house the whole time because the teenage girl is obsessed, right? And it's driving everybody else in the house nuts. The brother comes in, goes, Leslie Gore, and frisbees the record out into the snow, right? So that's why I knew who Leslie Gore was. And when it's happening, it's the song Johnny Angel, right? So that stuck in Coach's brain pretty good. That's the only reason he made the Leslie Gore connection. So let's look over at Andre the Seal. We're looking for numbers for us. May 16, 1961, July 19th. I mean, that's 16 upside down. That's not really doing anything for us, right? So that kind of seems like a whiff so far. Rockport, well, we have been big on rock. right? Still not too exciting. 25-year bond. Well, Seals, if we're talking the Golden Seals, the San Jose Sharks, they are in the 2025 season. So that 25 could be good for us. They also gave us $2,500 from the local garden club. So that's two 25s we could like for the Seals. Okay. So it's by George T. Miller, right? We've got Paul George winning the finals. Reggie Miller's team was just in the finals. Tina Majorino, that's like Marino. Dan Marino's record just got broken. We think Pitt might be doing something in football. So a sealed called Andre. Okay. Shot in Vancouver and Mississippi for some reason. Okay. Now we've got, I guess we'll have to wait longer for that one. There's a connection, but they show it later. So you've got Tina, Albertina. So Albertina playing Tony in a movie where the seal is played by Tori. So Tina, Tony, Tori. And it's only two characters in the same movie. This one happened to also be in Alice in Wonderland. Okay, well, right here, they meet up. 1962 is when they adopt the seal. There's nothing special about Andre. There's nothing special about this family. It's that the family adopts Andre. When that happens is when it matters, or when he dies, right? That's pretty much your only numbers that are going to matter here. Not so much when he's born, when they captured him, / when they released him / died. Those are going to be the ones that are good for you. We got when he was captured, or when he was, I guess they rescued him. So they rescued him in 62, flip at 26. Billy Baker, we got Baker Mayfield, who left the Browns. So check this out. The mom, Tina's mom, is named Thalice. What a weird coincidence when this is a bitch from Alice in Wonderland. Of course her name is Thalice because you've known hundreds of Thalices in your life. You can't walk 10 feet down the street without hooking up with a woman named Thalice. Right? I mean, like, they're literally just herds of them, right? Left and right. I'm sure you've heard that name at least once in your life, right? One time. Has anybody ever been named Thalice before this bitch? Not sure. Okay, so Keith Carradine and Keith Zarbatka had to be in the same movie together because it's funny. Then you got Joy and Jay. Then you got Tori, Tina, and Tony, as mentioned. So you got an Aiden Pendleton there. We got Aiden Hutchinson. Huntington, I can't remember, winning the Super Bowl for the Lions. Okay, and let's see. So look, spent every winter in the New England Aquarium, not the Boston Aquarium, specifically New England, like the only fucking team named New England in the world, the Patriots, who were just in the Super Bowl, right? So there's that. So don't go thinking it's the Celtics, because they suck. It's the Patriots, who out of nowhere were good for no fucking reason. Okay, so let's see. So, fun fact, the film Andre wasn't even played by a real seal. It was played by a sea lion. Well, Coach thinks lions are fake, so sea lions are probably fake. Seals are probably fake, especially because seal is like a verb and a noun. Like, it could be a metaphor at different types of ways. Hey, did you seal that? Hey, can you pass me that seal? Right, so I can seal this envelope. You know what I mean? Like, it's clearly some sort of gag. Now, Coach did this follow-up because he wants to make his hockey prediction. So he ran into the Avalanche. We know they're really good. It doesn't seem too hard to pencil them into the finals. We've wanted to do it several times. On the other side of things, the one I'm more sure about is we're getting the fucking San Jose Sharks. These California Golden Seals, the Cleveland Golden Seals. Remember Todd Golden's team, reigning champs in basketball. Okay, also, Florida won back-to-back before, I think. Maybe they're doing it again. So just a thought there. Anything else really want to add? So Coach is thinking through everything in real time, so some of the stuff at the end of that last video might not still jive with what I'm thinking now, but just bear with me. So Andre the Seal, Sea Lion, right? You got the California Golden Seals, Todd Golden, right? So Sea Lion, Seahawks just won the Super Bowl. Okay. Jahmyr Gibbs are Lions, right? Sea Lion. Jahmyr Gibbs is Sonic Boom. The Oklahoma City Thunder just won. Boomer Sooner, Legion of Boom Seahawks. All right. And, like looking everything over, coach is having a bit of a tough time, but I think I made my decisions, right? So isn't it interesting here, right? Auburn players back-to-back, or actually teammates even, Chuck Barkley and Chuck Person. What are the odds there, right? And then we really like, so coach was thinking Leslie Gore, Johnny Angel, right? We think our Anaheim Angels are winning. What do you know? Johnny Broom is the most recent Auburn player to get drafted. We like that. So, that helped put them on the map a little bit. So, is that coach? That's not Coach Reisman. This is the update right here. Right? College hoops. Coach could take Auburn over Michigan State. Doesn't seem like Auburn's having a great season. They're like 19-4. I guess technically they could win it next year. Right? So, give me a 2-year window on Auburn. Maybe Michigan State wins this year and then Auburn wins next year, something like that, right? Give coach a little bit of leniency with the college hoops there. NHL's real tough, but I am going to stand by my Sharks. I should have had Blackhawks on this list as well, right, who they could go over because their numbers are so strong. But Avalanches came up, Sabres have came up. It's really tough, but I just like the Sharks. The Sharks are my safest bet to make an appearance. I'm not too worried with what goes on the other side. Let's just leave it at that. There's a lot of reasons to like all the teams. Guess if I had to pick one, I'd pick the Sabres. Behind that, it would be the Blackhawks and then the Avs. But they're like 1A, 1B, and 1C. So that side is just too tough. Just give me the Sharks making an appearance. Then NBA, I like Sixers over Clippers straight up. Give me the whole thing. MLB, Angels over Nationals, but they're both such long shots. Let's think it could very realistically be Angels over Braves because the Clippers were the Braves, right? So that would track. Lions over Browns, you already know, right? So college football, coaches go in Pitt over Bama. That gives us our Nick Saban stuff. It ties in with Shady McCoy, Aaron Donald, Donald Trump. There's just enough there. The coach is going to rock with Pitt. Although that's probably the very near the shakiest of all, but also with the Panthers, right? You had the Florida Panthers winning back-to-back, and the Michigan Panthers just folded after making a championship appearance. Coach told you the Defenders were going to beat the Michigan Panthers, if you recall, right, before the season even started. So we had a perfect bracket in UFL. So World Cup, Portugal over Argentina. Cat cracked this part. I of course had the matchup in Ronaldo beating Messi. But they pointed out it's like Messiah in Christ, right? So Cristiano beating Lionel Messiah, right? Lionel like Lion, right? We got the Lions. There's a lot to like. And then in the UFL, those Michigan Panthers, they became the Columbus Aviators. Isn't it really weird? Michigan and Ohio having a team like fold into another when we've got the Lions and the Browns. And coach said there's some weird aviation stuff. So coach going with the Aviators. They got the A just like the Angels and just like the Atlanta Dream for WNBA, like the logo. And Stallions, that's Alabama. It's like the year of the horse and stuff. God, what the hell? I looked them up and I was literally like blown away. Like I almost went with them. You got to look. I misspelled it, but that was just a typo. Not that I don't know how to spell it. Let's see. No, we want Wiki right here. So they were Pittsburgh. We like that. Stanley's interesting. Legion Field, right? Like Legion of Boom. I mean, what more do you want, right? So we like them popping up. They might even win it, right? But we like them versus the Aviators. We think it makes more sense for the Aviators to win, but could go either way. FA Cup, since Birmingham's going to be in there, why not just take Birmingham City? They're like ranked second right now. WNBA, we go Dream over Storm, right? That one's pretty shaky. It's mostly just off the logos and stuff, but you do have Atlanta, right? Like the Atlanta Braves there. So